So the binding effects will be, a lot of people are asking. Of course, this order has set a precedent across the nation that yes, this should not be done, and in future any cinema does this order will be applicable, especially with PVR. So the binding efficacy now, if you talk about, there are 30 days time is granted as per the order for them to comply with the order. For that, they have to work out their policy and see if they want to comply with it or they want to challenge the order. So hence, that is the reason why a lot of cinemas and a lot of people across the country are still complaining that we are still seeing advertising. Second is, after the 30 days, if they decide and if they pay that 1 lakh penalty to the court, they accept their obligation and they will be bound to follow this order, not just PVR Bangalore, any PVR.
Hello everyone, I am Surbi, founder of LegalWiki. Welcome to the latest episode of our podcast. Today I am thrilled to have a special guest, Mr. Abhishek MR. You might know him, Abhishek, from his recent win against PVR-INOX for wasting viewers' time with excessive ads before a movie starts. We're lucky to have him here to discuss the case in detail. So, whether you're a lawyer or just someone who loves movies, this conversation is going to be insightful. So, stay till the end and share this episode with your friends. To tell you more about Abhishek, he's a founding partner of Law Smith and Company, a boutique law firm known for its strategic legal solutions. Practicing since 2016, he has extensive experience in civil and criminal litigation and is also impaneled advocate for the State Bank of India and Mysore Urban Development Authority. So, Abhishek, a warm welcome to you. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today.
Likewise, Surbi. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. So, with this, let's get started. So, first of all, I would like to thank you as a movie watcher myself. We all have felt helpless while being bombarded with ads before the movie begins, but none of us showed this courage to take any action against it. And even I used to arrive 30 minutes late just to skip the ads, and sometimes because of this, I ended up missing the start of the movie too. So, what made you feel that your rights were being violated, and what motivated you to take the action?
Correct. So, as rightly put forth by you, Surbi, what motivated me was firstly that, like you said, that you are also a moviegoer, and everyone for that matter, including me. And I have also sometimes gone late to the movie. It's not that I was always on time. Of course, other times I have been late. There were still ads being played. Somewhere we all were used to, this trend that if you arrive on time to the theater, it doesn't make sense because ads will continue. So somewhere it was all prefixed in our minds as, common people, that if you arrive early to the theater also, it doesn't make any difference. So people were taking that 30 minutes extra, 40 minutes extra, and then reaching the movies. So what actually frustrated me was, to be very honest with you, there were scenarios earlier when advertisements were played for almost like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I have just ignored it. I did not see that from a legal angle, from, a broader perspective. What actually pushed me to take this action was a simple fact that this movie called Sam Bahadur, I'm sure you have watched, all
Yes.
your viewers would have watched. It's a very good Hindi movie. So I was totally excited to, be watching this movie. 4:05 p.m., as you all know already, that was the start of the show. And I had planned my schedule in such a way that I had fixed an appointment, a telephonic appointment with my client at 6:30 p.m. Because I saw the duration of the movie on the ticket was 2 hours 30 minutes, as per the book my show details. So I said, okay, fine. 6:30, I would be out of the theater. So I can take the work call. Even if it's 6:30, 6:35, here and there, okay, fine, I can take the work call. And he was a very important client, so I had to take a work call at 6:35. And what happened was, uh, 4:05, between 4:05 and 4:28, there were series of commercial adverts being played. So these were not just trailers. You and me, we would have experienced, Surbi, that there are trailers also played. And
Correct.
some people enjoy trailers. They're like, boss, you play trailers for 1 hour, we'll sit and watch. There are people like that also. But I'm sure nobody watching this podcast of us today would agree that we will sit and watch commercial adverts for 30 minutes.
Correct.
Would anybody agree? I'm not sure.
Of
Right?
course
Today's
not.
scenario, yeah. So today's scenario should be when this case came out online, everywhere online. Some initially people's reaction was very good, nice, and some people's reaction was 25 minutes. Isme kya hai? What big could happen in 25 minutes? Just 25 minutes advertisement. You should have come early. A lot of people told me.
Huh.
But actually, the importance of 25 minutes can be understood when you compare it with seconds. For simple instance, for example, we all have these YouTube applications which we're using on a day-to-day basis. There are
Yes.
certain videos which we need to watch. Before that video, there comes a small advertisement which is for 30 seconds. We can't wait for 30 seconds. You just imagine that situation. We will be waiting for that skip ad button on the
And
video.
we even
So
buy
we'll be like, when
premium
is that?
also. Sorry to interrupt, but we do buy YouTube
Yeah,
premium also just to skip that ad also.
correct, correct, exactly. But imagine this situation of the people who don't buy the premium. There is a small skip button for which we'll be waiting. And it is not minutes, it is just seconds. We are not able to wait for seconds. And that's our patience level today. So now when you compare that situation with 25 minutes, imagine how a person can watch commercial adverts for 30 minutes. So especially this was supported by my other grievance that I could not attend to my work call. If the
Ah,
movie had started on time, I could have taken my work call at 6:30. Because the movie did not start at 6:30, 4 o'clock, it started at 4:30. There was a 30-minute delay, due to which the movie ended by 7 o'clock. So I had to make my client wait, and eventually I lost that client, whatever. That is the second part of it. So I somewhere it affected my, professional role which I played that day. I was not quite satisfied with how I could connect with my client and all that. So it's deeply frustrated, and I was somewhere thinking, this is just not my case. There are so many people in the society. There are policemen, there are doctors, there are other people whose time is very important. Because even a common man's time is equally important. We don't know what he's doing, but definitely I'm sure his time is also equally important. So then I was feeling this is going to be a national issue if I take it up, because not everybody is able to go to the court.
correct.
Yeah. So two things, as you rightly said. One is the courage factor.
Ah,
Why people haven't moved to the court till date? Two factors. Courage factor is one, as you rightly pointed out. Second factor is inconvenience factor. Here, courage, because if you see before the movie, they clearly put a disclaimer or a note saying that if you record, you will be liable under anti-piracy laws.
correct.
So once you put that, who will have the courage to take out their phone and record?
Yes. We
So
will be
that was,
discussing about this recording thing also later on.
yeah, sure. So these two factors, I think, played a major role in why people did not move any court till date.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Abhishek, before moving to the court, did you try taking this issue up with PVR's administration? Do you think that could have changed the situation?
This is a very good question, Surbhi, which I did not anticipate. See, what happens, Surbhi, in theaters or cinemas, the situation is completely different from the situation as that of flights or commercial airlines.
Okay.
If you see, in a cinema, once you're seated as a viewer, you don't have any people around you to come and check with you if there's any issue. For example, there are cinemas where AC is not working, the sound is not, audible. In such situation, you just can't complain because nobody is there in the cinema. On the other hand, what happens inside a flight is that a lot of people are there inside the flight. They keep asking you. There are support staff. Is there any issues, sir? How can I assist you?
Huh.
So this is another major reason why people cannot complain in the cinema theater, because they have to go outside. They don't know whom to contact, and in that meantime, if the movie starts, they will be missing on the movie. So
True.
this is why people haven't able to complain to the support staff. And of course, here also, if even if I had complained, probably situation would not have changed. Because recently I asked one of my interns, she was saying she faced the same situation after this order came, after this order was passed. Imagine
Huh.
at INOX Bangalore in another cinema,
Huh.
she said she faced a very similar situation where there was a 20-minute delay. And I clearly told her, you please go and register your complaint. There's a book called Complaint Register in a Theater, which none of us know. Most of us don't know, including myself. I did not know that there's a complaint register book inside every cinema. where you can go and register your complaint if there's any grievance. So I told her, you please go and register your complaint and also inform the manager, apprise him about this order and tell him why there's a delay. Because you're supposed to start as per the contract, the ticket, you have to start.
Correct.
So she did that. And the reply she got was, she said, sorry, madam, we are not aware of the order. That was the first response. And they said, sorry, madam, this is the policy, we have to follow it. So
OMG.
now imagine if I had complained, probably it would have been the same situation.
Correct, correct.
So this is why I wanted to make it very powerful, and I wanted no stones unturned in this case, and wanted to ensure that entire world gets to know, and PVR mostly should act upon it and change its policy to ensure it's not unfair. See, I'm not asking very big thing; it's a very simple thing. As per contract, you just play it on time.
Correct.
And don't take consumers' time to ride. And please don't carry on unfair treatment. That was as simple. Yeah.
Rightly said. So, Abhishek, now I know your argument. So, I wanted to understand what were PVR's key defenses and how did the court respond to them?
Okay. So here, Surbi, as people generally know, as you know, other news houses and other media houses, what they've generally said is PVR defended themselves. Firstly, by saying that they engaged in playing PSAs for law students and other law graduates watching this program, or even common citizens. PSA means public service announcement. It's basically, these tambaku gutka ads, prohibition of tobacco ads and all that. These are called PSAs, which is for the sake of spreading awareness to common man. So as per law, the PSAs can be played only before 10 minutes prior to the commencement of the show. So these are the guidelines laid down by CBFC, Central Board for Film Certification. So, once you start the movie, any movie for that matter, you get a certificate. I'm sure everybody would have known. There in that certificate, there's a U bar A or A and all those. That's that certificate. So as per that certificate, as per that board, which is called the Central Board of Film Certification, they have laid down certain guidelines. And none of us, I mean, most of us didn't know about it. And including myself, I'm being very honest, even I didn't know about it because obviously you can't like randomly, just pick up one guidelines and read until you have a case for it.
Correct.
So yeah, then I pulled out the guidelines and I saw the guidelines clearly says 10 minutes prior to the commencement of the show only can these PSAs be telecasted. They're not talking about commercial advertisements, Surbi. They're talking about only PSAs. So imagine if commercial advertisements have to be played, when can that be played? That can be played 10 minutes prior to the PSAs. So if 4 or 5 is the show, 4 o'clock is the show, 3:50 to 4 o'clock they can play PSAs. Before 3:50 they can play whatever they want.
Commercial advertisements.
Exactly. So imagine 50 minutes after the show commencement, they play commercial ads. 4:28 they play the PSAs. Point as to what defense they came up with. The first defense they came up with was to be, it's very common that when you make an allegation to another person, they say, no, I did not do it. You are violating your rights. So this was a common this thing, what happens in the court. So they definitely came up with such a defense. They said, no, how did you record first? The defense was basically attacking me indirectly by ensuring that I am intimidated or whatever, and I am not supposed to record. And they said there were clear, prohibition not to use the phone inside the theater to record the movie and all that, because it said, yes, anti-piracy movies of the movies. So this was the disclaimer which was given. So it is not about the advertisement. Advertisements never had any copyright. Advertisements can always be recorded. It can be done. So this was one such defense taken. The second very interesting defense taken was in the version, what we call the objections which they filed. They have stated that we have played PSAs firstly. We did not play commercial adverts. We have played PSAs. And second ground they have taken is very surprising. They were waiting for the cinema hall to get filled by people so that they can start the movie. Very, very crucial point this is, which none of the other medias have highlighted, of course. So if you just interpret this, what they mean to say, they say they were waiting for the people they were waiting for the hall to get filled by people so that they can start the movie. So this is completely contradictory to their own stand that they have played only PSs. They are somewhere indirectly agreeing that Yes, of course, there was a delay, but they were waiting for latecomers. How fair is this? So you are favoring latecomers and doing injustice to the all the viewers have come on time. This is completely absurd. So this was another argument they have taken. And the third most intriguing argument they came up with in their evidence also was, while I produced my evidence of the entire episode of the advertisement, 17 commercial advertisements played and two PSAs, they have, on the other hand, produced two screenshots of the cinema theater where PSAs were played. Okay? And very interesting here, Surabhi, the screenshot what they produced, there's not a single person sitting in the theater.
Oh.
So, firstly, we don't know in which theater they took the screenshot. Secondly, the court said, we don't know in which theater, in which show you have clicked the picture. If at all it was Sam Bahadur, according to whatever the show which I have been to, there should have been at least few people sitting,
Right.
right? So 428, according to my video, PSS were played. In my video 428, the cinema hall is full. In their screenshot, not a single person is sitting.
So basically, they're left with no evidence, sir.
Exactly. So they had created it for the purpose of the case.
For the purpose of
So according to me, they've created it and they've just produced a screenshot. So that was another absurd thing. So somewhere court understood that yes, they're trying to just defend themselves very vaguely without any basis. Yeah.
Great. So, as you were mentioning about your one of the intern or colleague that she recently went to watch the movie in the Bangalore itself, and the movie, there was still the ad was showing. So recently, this happened with me in Noida. I stay in Noida, so I recently went to watch the movie, and I think for 25 to 30 minutes the ad was showing. So, what is the binding effect of this particular case, sir? So, even for the non-lawyers, if you can explain this, sir.
Correct. So your question, I'll take it in twofold. One is the binding effect of the order, and second is what can a common man do?
Yes.
Am I right? So I can see that way. Yeah. So the binding effects will be, a lot of people are asking. Of course, this order has set a precedent across the nation that yes, this should not be done, and in future any cinema does this order will be applicable, especially with PVR. So the binding efficacy now, if you talk about, there are 30 days time is granted as per the order for them to comply with the order. So any order for that matter, there's certain time limit. So as per the order was passed in the month of Feb 12th February. So they have 30 days time. That is 30 days will be ending on 12th of March. So before that, they have to work out their policy and see if they want to comply with it or they want to challenge the order. So hence, that is the reason why a lot of cinemas and a lot of people across the country are still complaining that we are still seeing advertisements. So the logic behind that is 30 days time is granted for them, whether to comply or to challenge. So that is why they are still under that the phase where they are deciding whether they should revamp their policy or whether they should file an appeal. So that is regarding the binding force. And second is after the 30 days, if they decide and if they pay that 1 lakh penalty to the court, they accept their obligation and they will be bound to follow this order, not just to PVR Bangalore, any PVR. So this
Pan India, it will be applicable.
Yes. So this will get after 30 days. The second part of your question regarding common man, what he can do, as I told you earlier, until 30 days, common man also cannot do anything because even if he goes and complains, it will just be registered as a complaint because the order still needs to be complied within 30 days. Of course, after 30 days, if you may ask me, what should be done if they, agree to comply there and if they still don't comply? As I told you, first thing is they can register the complaint immediately in the log, the complaint register, which is available in every cinema. And then they can, of course, obviously approach any lawyers nearby and talk to them about this problem. Or they can also approach, because I'm sure you are also quite aware that the Consumer Protection Act is a very consumer-centric legislation. It's a beneficial legislation, and the commission is also a very friendly commission. Where it's not. But there's a time limit. There's a three months time limit, if I'm not wrong, as per the act, and it has to be expedited. So it's going to be very not completely hassle-free, I'm saying, but yeah, it is better. It is going to be very expedited procedure.
Okay. Great. So one more thing. So if PVR challenges this order, what legal grounds might they use, and how do you plan to counter them?
This is very tricky question because see, when you have filed the case, you think from your end, as to this is a very classic case, this is very good for you, but never do you think from the other side. But to be honest, Survi, I literally don't see any ground on which they can challenge it. Any ground, literally any ground, because our evidences are very clear that 17 advertisements were played. They have not denied anywhere in the reply which they have given that no, we have not played. At least there should have been a
They
specific
have given
allegation.
very vague responses. I have actually read the whole order. It was very vague responses.
Very true, very true. Just like you said, very vague. They're not sure whether they should deny, whether they should agree, because somewhere they know that this has been,
They gave one more argument that the meeting was set for 6:30 and there was no chance that movie could have ended at 6:30. So it was your bad intention just to harass them to file, and that's the reason you're filing the case. So
correct. Yeah, and they say, yeah, it is impossible for you to attend to work. See, work need not be done at office. Today it's digital. Everything is digital. And for professionals like us, we do a lot of work on telephone. Like we are doing now. Currently, we are doing work on
now it's
online.
actually more clear when you mentioned that it was your call. So now it's actually more clear.
Exactly, exactly. And I've never mentioned anywhere in the entire complaint that I had to go to office.
Huh.
I said I had to attend to work, and work can be on call also. So immediately after the theater, you can attend the call, right? So that was the thing. Yeah. So of course, I don't see any legitimate defense that they can come up with. So we'll have to wait and watch. Of course, appeal is always possible if you deposit 50%. So we have to wait and watch.
Okay, so Abhishek, moving forward with my next question. So, what does the law say about advertisements and public service announcements in cinema halls, sir?
So, as I already explained, Surabhi, the guidelines which the CBFC has laid down, it clearly says 10 minutes prior to the show. The start of the show can PSAs be played, and if commercial adverts have need to be played, then that can be played prior to that 10 minutes, during which the PSAs can be played. And CBFC has also here specifically mentioned that each PSA cannot cross 2 minutes. This is very important to note. See the kind of importance the government is laying down for emphasizing the importance of the time of the consumer. When government is laying down such rules, why the cinemas were not following it?
Correct.
The government says each PSA cannot breach that 2 minute duration. So if you see that Tambaku ad or that Mukesh Wala famous ad, it
Yes.
can't cross 2 minutes. One PSA cannot cross 2 minutes. So that is to ensure that you can have at least 5 PSAs within the total duration of 10 minutes. So any adverts can be played prior to that 10 minutes.
Okay. So, moving forward, did filing the complaint under the Consumer Protection Act 2019 make a difference compared to the earlier 1986 Act?
Correct. So if you see one of the major reasons or the major objective why this Consumer Protection Act of 2019 was enforced was to mainly target and tackle this misleading advertisements. There were a lot of misleading advertisements in the market. There were a lot of people falsely endorsing.
The Coaching Institute
For
one
example,
also.
yeah, correct. So you endorse a brand without knowing it. Sometimes it's a false endorsement. These things were rampantly happening. So that was a major reason why this act also came into force, and also to give more power to the civil, consumer commission, like that of civil court, so that they can actually enforce and impose certain costs and punitive damages to ensure there is proper functioning of the businesses or whatever any other service provider for that matter. So I think 2019 Act is definitely a game changer when it comes to ensuring when it comes to levying of penalties, levying of punitive damages. There's definitely given ample powers to the Consumer Commission. So I think here, if the Consumer Commission has awarded 1 lakh rupees as punitive damages, probably somewhere Consumer Protection Act 2019 should also be somewhere given due credit because of the objective with which it was passed to ensure there is just and fair transactions of service being provided by the service provider.
Okay, got it. So, apart from this, so that's the one of the advertisement issue. So, another concern people have is the extremely high prices in food in theaters, especially for popcorn. So, since theaters are private businesses, do you think this can be legally enforced? What does the law say about this, sir?
Correct. So after this news became very viral across the nation, this was one such common concern everybody had. Probably, I don't know if they had concern about the time, but popcorn was a major concern because they said, "Sir, popcorn, you please do something for popcorn." I said, "Please don't touch me only with PVR case. We are also doing other cases." But of course, whether I take action or not, I was just this was an intriguing question for me, so I started researching.
Okay.
And then it seems that a lot of people from Mumbai, or my friends from Mumbai, were commenting that after Shiv Sena's involvement, outside food was allowed in Mumbai. I'm not sure how things are now, but for some time at least, outside food was allowed in Mumbai, which I heard. So then I was thinking, why is it not happening across to other states? So then we went into other judgments. There was a Jammu Kashmir High Court judgment, which actually allowed outside food and all that. So then the Supreme Court, the matter reached the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, and Justice D.Y. Chandrachud bench got this matter to address this issue. And the bench clearly said that outside food cannot be allowed in PVR or any other cinema because it's a private entity totally, and it is their choice. If they are fixing a particular price, it is their policy decision, and nobody has any say on it. And who is forcing a consumer to buy popcorn or eat popcorn there? This was the question, the arguments raised and questions, put across to the lawyers who were arguing. And that actually makes sense. See, nobody is forcing a consumer to buy popcorn in a cinema.
Yeah.
See, of course, today I have filed a case against PVR. Doesn't mean that I keep talking everything against PVR. So there should be some logic and some fairness in your argument. So I completely stand by that. PVR, okay, is charging popcorn. But of course, it's their private entity and they're not forcing you to buy. Why we are forced to buy popcorn is because when the time increases, the duration of the movie increases. Indirectly, if you decode the whole situation,
Correct.
30 minutes if is added to your movie duration, you definitely become hungry.
Yes.
Then you are forced to buy the popcorn. If we cut that duration, we can control our hunger and not buy popcorn.
Right.
Yeah. So regarding popcorn, this was the same. Regarding the prices also, courts do not have much to say. They said it's a private entity. We don't want to interfere with the policy. It's fine. It is up. So I don't think there's much to do and also another factor is that they're selling popcorn in loose, not in packets.
Yes.
If you see, it is sold in loose. There is no cinema, PVR or any other cinema. They don't sell it in packages. If they sell it in packages, then they'll be again, governed by certain regulations. Like there are certain packaging laws.
Correct.
It's called legal metrology rules.
Legal metrology. Correct.
Metrology. So it talks about the packaging. What has to be there, prices, MRP, and all that. So because it's sold in loose, we actually don't have much to do. So maybe you should eat well before going to the cinema.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving forward, so it's easy for us being as a lawyer that to stay updated with all these rights and laws. So how can consumers, especially non-lawyers, become aware of their rights in such cases? Do they need knowledge, legal knowledge, or are there simpler ways to stay informed?
Right. So here, Surbhi, what I suggest is it's high time that people start reading the legislations. So because at least they can start with Consumer Protection Act of 2019. It's a very simple act, it's a common man can understand it. If you are able to read and, understand English, they can definitely do it. So I will say directly, please don't directly start with, filing suits and all that. First, apprise yourselves. First, understand, get to know what the law says. What are your rights as per the law? Online, there are a lot of materials. There is act available. Please go through. You see where the act stands, why the act is legislated. So that first you'll apprise yourself about your rights. Secondly, you can also see one more important factor is that a lot of people say, oh, because he's a lawyer, only a lawyer could do it. Sorry, I don't agree with it. 4 5 p.m. was the show. It started at 4:30. Do you want a lawyer to interpret this scenario and get agreed? Any common man, it's a matter of common sense. See,
Correct.
because even I didn't know when I was watching that movie about the CBFC guidelines. I did not know. I was just a common man. So when I filed this also, I was a common man. But of course, my profession is I'm a lawyer. So you need not be a lawyer to actually sue all these people. There are a lot of things happening like this in the whole country. For example, recently we all have seen reels on Instagram where different prices are being charged. On iPhone, there's a different price. On Android phone, there's a
Android.
different price.
Yes, correct.
So you just need to approach your lawyer nearby, then discuss with him how to take it forward. So that would be the best case. And of course, before that, you should just apprise yourself about the Consumer Protection Act, what the law says, so that it will be easier for you to discuss with your lawyer when you're approaching.
And there are a lot of YouTube videos also they can watch,
Yeah,
also help them
completely.
out.
Today, information is available. It's so huge. There's information at every stage. Yeah.
Correct. So
And of
finally,
course, they can follow your channel, Legal Wiki.
thank you. So finally, what
Yeah.
advice would you give to a law students and young lawyers listening to this podcast today?
Okay. So, Surbhi, when I was doing my law, I still remember that uh, there was this small incident which happened in my childhood. Of course, if we are not short of time, this time is money.
Yeah.
So I want to ensure that I'm not
No, it's
wasting your time.
perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Yes, continue.
Okay. Okay. So when I was in my graduation, when I was doing my law, there was a small incident. I had purchased a postpaid Airtel SIM card for my iPad device. And then, postpaid how it works, bills keep generating and all that. So I had somewhere stopped using the SIM card, and I had kept it outside. It was not in use. Yes, I remember now that I had kept the SIM card outside the device, and it was not at all used even once. After, say, for example, for a span of 6 months, and one of the telecom operators started sending me bills continuously, and after 6 months, I think they sent one consolidated invoice where I had to clear 6 month company. And imagine I was a student that day, and those days every rupee was important. Way back in 2011 or 2012.
Yes.
Okay, and the bill amount was somewhere around 5,500. It was a huge money for me, and I'm like, this is unfair because I'd kept it outside, and I'd also texted to the customer executor that I am not using this. Please tell me the procedure to. Yes, I had also contacted them about how to cancel it.
Huh.
They, for some reason, they kept extending. They said, no, this date you can't do it. Next month, within 10th, you have to come. When the next month I go, they say, no, you can't do it now. Some internet has been used. And they were playing fraud on me. So then 6 months ka total bill they sent me, which was around 5,500 or something. Then I was totally flabbergasted and I was totally frustrated. I'm like, are they misusing, just because I'm a student or a young person or a small boy or whatever? So then what I did was, I did not do anything. I just kept the matter there. I became very silent. I got a call from the Legal Services Authority
Okay.
and summons from the Legal Services Authority saying you're summoned because you have not paid the dues.
Huh.
Then I took up the matter very seriously. I directly called the Airtel, correct, it's Airtel manager, the southern region head. I told him, sir, even if you are approaching the Legal Services Authority, I will be approaching the Consumer Commission with this complaint because 6 months you have not explained to me the procedure of how to cancel it. Because of the lack of information provided from your end, I could not cancel it. And of course, SIM has not been utilized. So it is not my fault that 6 months was extended. 6 months was extended because you have failed in your duty to apprise me. So I was not a lawyer. I was just a law student, of course. So this was just a matter of common sense, just a practical thing that hits you, that something is wrong, something injustice is happening. So then I just told him that, see, this is what I will do. Whether you are approaching or not, I will approach. I did not get a single call till date. So that is how students should be today, Survi. It is not just about gaining one after another. There are a lot of PG diplomas. There are a lot of courses available online. Beyond all that, first, what you have to be is a good citizen, a watchful citizen. You have to be watchful of your rights. You have to be aware of your rights and see whether somebody is taking you for granted and your time or money for granted. And if that is happening, irrespective of whether you're a lawyer, law student, or a common man, you're always free because you're a citizen of this country. There are laws which are binding companies, binding service providers. Why are you not questioning? So everywhere I go, I tell all my interns and people who are listening, please build this attitude called questioning attitude. Please raise questions. Why? Have curiosity. Okay, if movie is not starting, why? You're not questioning today. What we maximum finally do is we discuss with our colleagues, fellow people. We just blame the cinema for doing it. We just come out of it. But what action are we taking? If we are not taking any action, we are not questioning. Forget action, we are not questioning. So the root level of all this issue, where we can improve our nation grow, ensure that there's proper service rendered by service providers, they don't take us for granted, is when we start questioning. Today, if you see, so we, like you rightly said, you recently went to a movie, you watched a movie, there was again 30 minutes delay.
Huh.
I'm not seeing any person raise this question. What they are doing is they are messaging me on LinkedIn, sir, what should be done? Please call me immediately. I'm getting these responses. But my objective of filing this case was to ensure I empower citizens for them to question. I have made this order possible through my case. So it can be easy for other citizens to go and approach. So what I want your viewers today, listeners, whatever, everybody listening to this is raise this, have this questioning attitude, have this activist mindset. Don't sleep over your rights. Today you are sleeping over not just with 25 minutes, it will be sleeping over across all your consumer rights, not just in cinema. One area you are letting your rights go, every other area you will cultivate the same habit. So build this questioning attitude, raise your questions, talk to the management. Now that the order is also there after 30 days, we can definitely question them. So it's not just about this order. Any other scenario where you feel that there's injustice, like I just narrated a few incidents. You need not have an order for that. You need not have a precedent. It's obvious to a layman that there is injustice happening. So why don't we question it? Because we are not questioning, they are taking it for granted.
And questioning and then reading a lot. This is also very important for law students and young lawyers, especially.
Very true, very true.
Don't vaguely commenting on things instead of doing some basic research. And we do have a lot of, now AI is also there. We have a Google. So you just you randomly, if you put anything, they'll give you the details and everything. So that's
Correct.
very important to read a lot.
Yeah, very true, very true. And of course, Instagram is there. There are a lot of legal pages which youngsters can make use
Yes.
of instead of all these other pages, which is not of much use.
And when we started LegalWiki, this was one of my reason that there are a lot of news channel in which they pull out the news in detail. And I consider that yes, you don't have time, but at least what you can do is you can at least go through the news in short, so that at least you will be having the updates. Okay, these are the things which is going on, and this will definitely help you in your career also, and while communicating in your internship with your colleagues, so while with your communicating with your teachers, so it will help you out in so many ways.
Correct, very true. And try to, connect with the society is what I finally want
Yes.
to say, because you need to be helpful, Surabhi. See, we gain knowledge for ourselves. We keep getting one after the other, one qualification after the other. But is it of use to somebody, Surabhi? At the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves, am I able to help another person through my knowledge? Am I able to apply this knowledge first? You
Correct.
need to apply this knowledge, then
Just
ensure
doing
that
the
this knowledge.
certificate courses and making your CV 10-page long will not help you out.
Exactly, very true. We all have to somewhere realize today that money is not the only criteria. We all have to make an impact in the society, and youngsters should take up this course. So, yeah, money is also a thing, but yeah, of course, parallelly you can take up. See, because we are not just handling consumer matters, we are handling a lot of matters, insolvency, banking, so many things. But
Hmm.
here and there, when we find such instances where there's injustice happening, we as lawyers can do better justice and at least help the society where people are not able to pitch in
Correct.
regarding these issues. Yeah.
So that's it, Abhishek. I think this was one of the most interesting and informative session I have actually had in a long time. And so we might have a follow up on this. Let's see after 30 days what happens. And accordingly, we
Right.
might update our viewers also with this. So
Right. Definitely looking forward to that,
yes.
Survi. Thank you. Nice talking to you. Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much. And to everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. If you found this episode interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, everyone.